What's going on, YouTube? It is James Q Quick from Learn, Build, Teach. And today I'm back with another resume review. I've been having a blast going through these. I hope that this is providing feedback to you all who are submitting resumes. I would love to hear, maybe here in the comments, some things you've learned in previous videos, some things you learned in this video, some extra tips that maybe I'm missing that you guys would recommend for the resumes that I review. So go ahead and leave those in the comments if you have extra thoughts. So I am going to be reviewing Jim Tyron, Tryon, sorry about that, who I've known from Twitter, and he's been really active in kind of reaching out to me and asking questions about various things. And that's one of the things that, first and foremost, if you're looking for a job, if you're the kind of person who reaches out and looks for help and is looking to learn, that's going to make a big impact on your ability to get placed. Now, that kind of thing doesn't necessarily get reflected on a resume. On your resume, it's not going to say, I reached out to James Quick and blah, blah, blah. It's not that. It's just that kind of shows the person you are, that you're eager to learn. And that's one of the things that employers really want to see as well. They don't really want to bring in people that are stagnant, that are just kind of comfortable with where they are. They're looking for people who want to push the envelope, that want to learn, that want to keep up to date with technology as it comes out, all that sort of stuff. So again, just before we even get into the resume, just want to commend you on doing that. Being engaged on Twitter, this is one of the biggest things that I could recommend as well. Being engaged on Twitter is really, really big. I use it as my really my full development related conversations are on Twitter, and I highly encourage people that are looking for jobs or new to the tech or programming community to get involved there as well. So I'm actually going to open up. I don't know if I've looked at. So here's one thing that I would fix. Looks like your personal site is not up. So I would try to fix that and have a personal site for people to see. So let's actually go in the resume, and then we'll kind of come back to some of the supplementary stuff. So I've scrolled down just a bit to get past your the name and email and stuff like that, or mainly just the email and number, so we don't show that to everyone. But I start off here with a technical skills section. Now, I'm a big fan of having a technical skills session or section. I think that's really, really important. The problem I have with this one is it's too tall. It's too big. It takes up too much space. There's all of this empty space in here, all this empty space here. So I think that's just a little too much. A lot of what people do is they'll put a skills section down the side. So they might do it over here on the right side, or you could do like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript here. Then you could do, how else are these going to combine? Git and GitHub on one. You could do jQuery, Bootstrap, and jQuery and Bootstrap on one as kind of supplementary tools. Anyway, it's a little too big, so I would try to shrink this in some way or reorganize it to be maybe down the side. I think it'll look a lot better by doing one of those changes to make this a lot smaller, but I would like to see a tad bit more pop to the resume. It's very plain, and it doesn't have to be colorful. It doesn't have to be all these things, but it is very plain. I would like to see a little bit more. And I pulled up just Google Docs on here, a little, actually you can see it here, a little insider note. And I don't know that this is necessarily a good thing, and you don't want to have resumes that all look the same, but I just used this first template up here. It's got just a tad bit of color. It's got the skills section on the right. I would maybe play around with a few different just pre-built resume templates, just to kind of see if you can get something that looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit more exciting than what you have here. One interesting part here is you're a teaching fellow at LaunchCode. I'm assuming that means you're a TA at LaunchCode. I actually am the lead instructor in Memphis, and it looks like you were done back in August, but I'm the lead instructor for the course in Memphis, the first time they're doing it in Memphis, and I've had a blast. So really cool to see that you've got that experience. I didn't know that you had that. So that's super cool. I think you can sell this a little bit more also. On here, you've got, let's see, manage group of students, provide feedback, create curriculum. So one of the things I would want to see is what are the technologies that you got experience with? So if you're in a position where you're looking for jobs, you really want to highlight not only your ability to lead and to help and to assist students through the curriculum, talk about what the curriculum was. Highlight, I assume you did similar curriculum to what we're doing. You did Python and Flask and Java, whatever those things are, include them in here. And what I always recommend is inside of your description of your job, bold any of the keywords that are matched up here. Because when you have a list of skills, that's just a list. It doesn't mean a whole lot. I want to see where you applied and used those skills throughout your different experiences that you've got listed on your resume. And I want to see them really easily. So I want to see them pop. I want to see them be bolded, make me be drawn to them. So I think you could probably combine like these 2 or 3 lines could probably be combined into one, and then one or two, and then you can list out the technologies, assisted students with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, whatever those things were, and then bold those along the way. I do see one thing. You've got, usually your resume is from most recent to least recent. So you've got this one here ended in 2016, which is more recent than these two up here. So this one probably goes second in my mind, at least. So developer at Jab Squared, create a mobile and web application 48-hour hackathon for business owners, use mobile app using Ionic and UX. So there's a couple of keywords I think you need to bold in here. Ionic framework, that's cool. UX design to create, assisted UX designer to create wireframes. I wouldn't even say necessarily you have to. I think you could be a little bit more confident in that and say, without lying, if you created part of that yourselves, I think you could say created wireframes and mockups for mobile application. Not that doesn't necessarily mean you did the whole work. That means you created some of it yourself. I would also want to know what you created that in, because that might be something that you bold as well. If you have experience with Sketch or InVision or Adobe XD or something like that, whatever tool you use, I would go ahead and highlight that. One of the things that's really impactful, so you've got in here, reducing the difficulty in scheduling and keeping appointments with customers. Can you add a tangible number to that? Can you say that scheduling appointments now takes half as much time as it used to, or takes 4 less button clicks, something tangible to say how you change this? 48-hour hackathon for business owners. I think part of that could be shortened a little bit. I think that's a little bit long. Also, stylistically, design-wise, this shouldn't wrap and come all the way back here. That looks really odd to me. I think it should wrap and just kind of stay consistent with this line right here and not go all the way back to the beginning. So again, if you find a template that kind of helps that might be a quick and easy way to make a change there. Web developer with Green River, design and develop from scratch, advertising website, including requirements, database design, user interface. I would shorten that. That's a long and that's a lot of my feedback is just shorten things and make sure that you only really highlight the things that are most important. From scratch, you may not need advising website for the IT department. That doesn't mean a whole lot on the advising side. So you could say design and developed website for IT department. Then what I care about is what you used. So design and developed website for IT department using whatever, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then bold those words. I want to see what you used. If you did database design, what kind of database did you do? You did user interfaces, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, most likely. Then you did server-side logic. What was the server-side logic? What was the framework? What language? What database? I need to see those things, because when you tell me this list of skills up here, I need to see those things be verified by this is how you used it in experience. You've got some cool kind of user experience stuff here. So conducted usability testing for web applications. I think that's a cool one to have. And I might say more specifically, like conducted user experience testing or something. So you can hit that user experience buzzword and then bold it as well. So web developer down here, WordPress, bold it. I mean, That's a big deal. Set up e-commerce solution with payment integration. That's super cool. And I assume, so it's probably using like I forget what the plugin is in WooCommerce plugin in WordPress to do e-commerce, but that's cool. That's a cool one to sell. Payment integration is not an easy thing to do, even if it is WordPress and it's taken on mostly by a plugin. I think that's cool to have. SEO, I wonder what tools you use to optimize the SEO. So I think you could mention that as well. And SEO is a bold word to me. That's a big one. If you're working on customer facing applications, SEO is important. How are people going to use your site if they can't find it? So I think that's important. You could bold that. Resolve customer experience related to website problems. There's probably, that's not a very exciting way to phrase that. Resolve customer concerns. Can you sell this more into the like constant, agile, adapt to feedback kind of more buzzwordy, I guess, if that makes sense. So, and I'm not going to be able to phrase this very well right on cue, but follow modern agile practices to improve user experience based on customer feedback, and mention a cycle, like continue to do that. That hits on agile, it hits on user experience, and it sells this a little bit more. I think maybe kind of invest a little more pride in some of these things, but then try to sell the description to come back to some overarching theme of buzzwords or things that people care about. So I think you could just spend some time looking at these, think about which of these is most important. Think about if you were a hiring manager and you're hiring for a specific job, what things are you looking for experience-wise? And then highlight those things. The things that they want to see, make them really easy to see by bolding them and changing the way you phrase stuff to really make it obvious. There's also a little bit of a formatting issue, it looks like, or a design part where this R is off. Those are things that they count against you. They're small, but they're not, I don't know. It's not necessarily, that's not the job you're applying for. The job you're applying for is not creating Word documents or PDFs or whatever. Like, you don't have to be good at that necessarily. But these small things like that indentation, this R being off from the rest of these, those things mean something, and they kind of change the way you look at a resume. And so in general, I would try to find a couple of different templates and just use those. And this might have been a template, but I think you've got some cleaning up and just a tad bit of excitement to add to it. Now, this might be kind of the tough question, and I don't know the answer to this, and I don't want to put you on the spot too much. But last experiences from August of 2017. So this is what an employer is going to see is your last experience was 2 years ago. And then the question is, what have you been doing since then? And there might be a number of reasons why. So I'm not going to put you on the spot here too much, and you're not here to answer. And we can talk about it offline if you want. But that's something that they're going to see. So maybe in a cover letter, you just address that. I took some time to do my own thing. I had to take care of family. Whatever that reason is, you might kind of jump in front of the questions and just address that in a cover letter to make sure that you're confident in that gap, or at least you can explain that gap, because otherwise it's a question and it's a little bit of a kind of a red flag that I think employers will see. Or this might just be not an updated resume, although I assume it is since you sent it. But so let's go back to GitHub. I think it'd be great to have a page where people can come and see your work. You're applying as a web developer, I believe. That seems to be the thing that you're interested in. Have a page that shows that you can build a website. They've got to be able to see that you did this and see that the skills that you talk about actually mean something. So get this up and running and make it something that you're proud of. On a similar line, on your GitHub, there's a lot of things in here that are basically forked from things that you did. So the Web Dev Bootcamp, which is amazing by Colt Steele, this is, I believe, where you just forked this project, and there's not really a whole lot in here. I'm not even sure. I guess this is just the basic HTML part of that. So if I come to your LinkedIn as an employer, I see these 6 repositories, which you can change. You can customize which 6 get pinned. And the 6 that you have pinned, I would really expect them to show off your work, show off something that you've built then have a good README here to show what those things are, show what the technologies are that you used. You really have to be able to paint the picture for, if you want to be a web developer, show them that you're a web developer. All 6 of these should be really specific to web development. They should be something that you built. It should be more than just, I went through a course and I built the same thing that the course showed. It should be something you built yourself. And I think that's really, really important. And keep in mind, you can customize this to show the ones that are there. And I don't think that I am the best at this, but when I said that I was transitioning into web development, I asked for feedback from a mentor, and he went directly to GitHub and was like, well, none of these projects scream web development. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So I ended up changing mine, and I think I'll probably change them again, to where now you see things like build a quiz app, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, core fundamentals of web development, design and build a chat app with Socket.io. Those I think are pretty spot on. The Markdown worksheet is kind of popular, but not really that important. Learn VS Code is the course I created for Visual Studio Code, and it is talking about being the most popular editor in web development. So take control of the message that people see about you by putting the things on here that are most relevant to the field that you're applying for. And that might mean that you have to create some more projects. Don't overthink them. Do some small things, but just have them on here that they can see that you've got skills in that area. Another thing that I look at, I haven't done this in the past, and actually maybe that's because, make sure I'm try on, maybe that's why, there we go. And I think we're on LinkedIn together. One of the things I would double check is making sure that this tells the story that you want. Currently seeking junior developer position. Talk about staying up late, current trends, affinity for coding and JavaScript. That's good. You've got some of the buzzwords there. You want to be a web developer. If I look back at your experience, looks like you've got some extra things on here that are not on your resume. So maybe it's time to add them to the resume, or maybe not. I'm not sure. You can kind of think about that, but make sure that everything that you have sells the message that you are a web developer, that you're looking for a job as a web developer, and that's what your next step is going to be. And you get to control that message by doing all these small things and putting it together. So I know we went kind of more in depth to things other than just the resume, but I think that's part of it. I think those are things you have to keep in mind. And anyway, I'm wishing you the best. Hopefully something will work out soon. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more on Twitter as well. In the meantime, I hope this helps. I hope other people got something out of this as well. That's going to wrap up this resume review, and I will see you in the next one. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out learnbuildteach.com to sign up for the newsletter to learn about my latest content. Thanks for watching.